Alright everyone, Cowboy Trades here, welcome back to the channel for another update. So we just got new inflation data coming in hot. Since this has come out, Bitcoin has just been rejected extremely hard from the 200-week moving average, and the stock market is getting absolutely decimated. What are my price targets for Bitcoin? What are my price targets for the stock market? What's happening in the immediate short term? Let's discuss all of this and more, starting off with the inflation data that just came in. So US PCE price index year over year just rose to 5.4% in January. Now consensus was all the way down at 5%, and the previous reading was at 5.3%. So not only have we exceeded consensus, we've exceeded the previous reading, which is extremely bearish, and also US core PCE year over year just rose to 4.7% in January. Consensus was all the way down at 4.3%. The previous reading was at 4.6%. So for both of these readings, we've far exceeded consensus, and we've now got inflation coming in hot from the previous months. Now, before we do dive into your Bitcoin charts, discuss the price targets for this in the stock market, very quickly, since this data has come out, as you can imagine, inflation is heading back up hot. Fed futures are starting to price in more interest rate hikes. They're currently sitting at 5.285%, and they just came up to 5.3% today, a whole 55 basis point increase from where the interest rates are at this moment in time. You can also see the CBOE implied correlation index skyrocketed, almost up 10% today. It's currently sitting up about 8.5% as of the time of recording this, and you can see as soon as implied correlation went up, the S&P 500 went down, and Bitcoin really has some catching up to do at this moment in time. Your volatility metrics, being your VIX and your VVIX, are skyrocketing today, and also the DXY has just reclaimed this 6-year resistance and flipped it as support. Back in 2017 and 2020, this was strong resistance. We blasted above it, came back down to it, and now we are holding it as support, and we've just had a huge move back up, even retaking this macro trend line which has been in place since 2021. So how is all of this going to bleed into Bitcoin? Well, as we previously discussed in our videos for the past week, and even yesterday, we made this video talking about the markets are about to nuke, and as you can see, this is timed out very well. On the 4-hour time frame for Bitcoin, you can see we've broken to the downside and flipped this bullish pennant slash symmetrical triangle as resistance, and we're starting to head down very strongly. On the 4-hour time frame as well, you can see the EMA ribbons are getting extremely tight, getting ready for a huge move. Now, whenever the EMA ribbons get extremely tight, that is pretty much always a sign that you're going to see a huge move. You can see over here, EMA ribbons got tight and had a cross, huge move back up. You can see over here, EMA ribbons got extremely tight and actually crossed over here, huge move back down. Over here, you can see EMA ribbons got extremely tight and crossed over here, huge move back up. What do you think is going to happen next? Well, it looks like they're about to cross to the downside, and as we highlighted in the previous video, we've got a price target all the way down here. Now, this is actually in correlation to a bark pattern. If we remove the EMA ribbons, you can see, boom, huge spike up. You've got the spiky head, and once we start losing this floor round about 23,500, potentially, if you really want to hold on to it, 23,350. As soon as you start losing that level, it's very likely that you're going to drop all the way down to that 10% drop that we highlighted in the previous video. We're only about 9% of the way away from this at this moment in time. So in the lower time frames, that is really what you should keep your eyes on. I think Bitcoin's coming down to 21,400. If we head over to the higher time frames, on the weekly, you can see Bitcoin is getting a super strong rejection from the 200-week moving average. It's almost like we're sitting between a rock and a hard place. No one wanted to get rejected from 25,000, and no one really wants to see Bitcoin come all the way down to 20,500, potentially 20,000 if we do come down here in the next week or so to retest this trend line, and in my opinion, probably lose it. So in the lower time frames, once again, your price targets to keep your eyes on are 21,400. If we keep on melting, we will head back down to this trend line at 20,600, highlighted right here. And then if we lose that, you can see on the weekly time frame as well, this is a huge bark pattern, which is likely to take Bitcoin down into new lows. Now, in terms of the oscillators right now for Bitcoin, I really just want to show you two. Right now, the stochastic RSI, if we zoom in, you can see this has just crossed bearish, and it is looking like it's getting ready for a huge move back down. Now, previously, if we look at the times that the stochastic has exceeded this 80 line since the bear market started, you can see, obviously, we did cross here and we had a sizable move back down, but I want to show you the data points in the bear market. Stochastic RSI crossed at the exact top and you had an absolute meltdown. Stochastic RSI crossed at this trend line, you had an absolute meltdown. Stochastic RSI didn't quite make it over the 80 right here, or at least both moving averages didn't really make it over 80. But then you can see right here, both of the moving averages, or this one pretty much touched 80, but we touched right here and had a meltdown. Now, every single time we've done this, at the top, we broke down into new bear market lows. Up here, we broke down into new bear market lows. Up here, we broke down into new bear market lows. And right now, as you can see, the stochastic actually came literally up to 100. The last time we did this was at the all-time high, indicative that Bitcoin is super overextended right now, like we've been talking about on the channel, and it's looking like a huge sizable correction is definitely necessary. And also you can see the MFI is extremely overextended, pretty much the most extended that it's been since the bull market top for Bitcoin, where we topped out around about 80. So on the higher time frames, bear in mind, a lot of these oscillators, your stochastic RSI, your squeeze momentum indicator, your MFI, while we're turning down in the lower time frames, the MFI, these higher time frame oscillators have not even started to flip back down to the downside yet. You can see as I'm recording the video, the price keeps on going lower and lower. Now, the last Bitcoin chart that I want to show you for today is, something that I've kept you updated on quite a lot on this channel, and this is what the whales are doing. There's nothing too major to update right now, but the whale wallets are once again back down at new lows. They have not sold any more than the last time I made an update on this. They did have a little bit of a bounce, but as you can see, they sold yesterday coming into today's PCE inflation event. So it's looking like, once again, whales are sitting on the sideline. It is only a retail driven market. Now, wrapping up the video on the S&P 500, you can see that we are steadily approaching this price target that I have been mentioning over on the channel. You can see I posted about this over on my Twitter yesterday, and I also talked about this on YouTube yesterday. So make sure to follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy for more posts like this. But yeah, back to the TA. Like I said, on the 4-hour time frame, it's looking pretty clear that the S&P 500 wants to melt further down to 3,928. We're really not too far away from this right now. We're about, a 0.6% move away. However, in the higher time frames, there are some much more interesting price targets that you do need to keep your eyes on. If I pull up the chart, got so many stock market charts over here. Here we go. This is once again another price target we've been mentioning for a little while now. We do have a price gap that needs to be filled all the way down here at 3,584. We closed all the way down here on the 14th of August on a Friday. We gapped all the way up here, meaning we've got a price gap all the way down here. Now, when we last updated you on this, we told you this was about a 10% drop. As you can see, we have started moving down pretty quickly, and we're only about 9% a move away. Obviously, haven't come down too far in the grand scheme of things, but nonetheless, we've got a decent amount of room to move down. So 3,584 is a decent move back down for the stock market. And once again, your S&P 500 is already in a meltdown phase. We've got a lot of signals right now, like implied correlation shooting up. This is melting the stock market, but Bitcoin has not started to play catch up. You've got the VIX melting through the ceilings. You've got the VVIX heading up very strongly. You've got corporate insiders selling. You've got Fed fund futures shooting up to 5.3%. This is all melting the stock market, but Bitcoin is really not playing catch up at this moment in time. From the local top, we're only down about 7%. So, in Bitcoin terms, that is not a lot. Bitcoin's got a lot of room to continue moving to the downside. This 21,400 price target is really only the first one that you need to keep your eyes on. And from then, we have not built up much support in this rally. So I believe we've got a long way to go down. Once again, higher time frames, I think Bitcoin visits 14,000, 12,000, potentially 10,000. Bear in mind, I'm not waiting for these price targets. If you've been watching the channel, you know that I bought at 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, all the way down to 16. And I've got buy orders at 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. If we bottom at 15,000, 14,000, 13,000, 12,000, 11,000, 10,000, I will be buying at all of these points anyway. So, of course, make sure you do DCA into these markets, as we do get extremely close to the bear market bottom. But with that being said, like I said, there's not too much to update other than this. Bitcoin really needs to start playing catch up with the rest of the markets. Also, your equity markets, we previously discussed this, how on one of your charts being blackball that we had just lost this super important trend line. Now, this has started to bleed in to literally every single chart. You can see over on the SP chart, we've lost this crucial line of support. Over on blackball, we've lost this crucial line of support. Basically, every exchange over on the CBOE, we've lost this crucial line of support. So this is one of the biggest throwovers that we've had. We came back down to retest it. We didn't hold it as support. We didn't go back up. We have lost it. Pair this with everything we've been talking about on the channel, the S&P 500 looks boned, and Bitcoin, of course, needs to play catch up. And you can see, like we were talking about the other day, this S&P 500 Elliott wave theory, another throw over outside of this pattern, but you can see that we are starting to melt to the downside of this symmetrical triangle pattern. And as we've previously discussed, this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave followed by a 5 wave asymmetrical triangle consolidation pattern is a bearish continuation pattern that happens in bear markets. If we were in a bull market, it would look something like this. We're not in a bull market, so this is a bearish continuation pattern. So expect a lot more downside room to ensue for the stock market, and soon expect Bitcoin to start playing catch up. Now, that's really all I've got for today. I did rush home to make this video, as I talked about over on Twitter. I was actually meant to be away from YouTube for the past 2 days. I have training today, and I have plans over on Saturday, but I saw this inflation data coming out. I saw, how this was affecting a lot of the leading indicators in the markets, and I do think this is going to proceed with a further meltdown in the charts. So if you do appreciate that, please help me to get these videos trending by leaving a like and a comment down below. Share the videos with your friends, and as I always say, do make sure to follow me over on Twitter at 618_cowboy. I always post these economic events first over on my Twitter. I posted this almost 2 hours ago, so if you do want to be privy of these economic data events, if you do want to have a few bits of insight in my charts, TA analysis, what data I'm looking at, before I do hit the record button, and then of course you can see, since I've been tweeting these things out, the markets have been nuking. Some people might be wondering, what's happening in the markets, but if you've got notifications on for Twitter, if you've got notifications on for YouTube, that is the best way to know what's happening in the market. So for today, my friends, that's all I've got. It's been your boy Cowboy Trades. I'm out. Peace.